Now, you probably just read the title and you're thinking to yourself, he's bullshit. There's no way. Or like, why should I even listen to this dude? And I get you on that for sure. But for the past 3 years, my test levels have been up and down tremendously. It's been ranging from like 450 to 520. And you're wondering, like, there's no way he had that low test while he's jacked, he's shredded, he's lean. And I kid you not, for the past 3 years, my test levels have been like all over the place, but more on the lower side. And then I'm going to explain to you how those three changes I made within these past 6 months that have increased my testosterone by 120 points, and that I've seen better results and better responses just doing this naturally without thinking. Now, don't get me wrong. There was a time and place I was really considering on hopping on TRT. I was really having a conversation with my mentor, and we're like going over my blood work and my tests, and we were saying, like, for your age and like for the activity level and like the way you eat and stuff, like you should be sitting around like 800 to 1,000 level, and like you're just consuming like around 450, 500s. Like, yeah, you probably just be better off hopping on. And had that conversation, I did give it some thought too. I was like, all right, let me go get this like last blood work test and let me see where it's really at. And if it is low, I'll probably consider it. But honestly, my last blood test kind of shocked the results for myself. But it was crazy enough how the response I was having, especially with my body. I will say, like, yes, I am blessed, and thank goodness for my genetics that I was able still to improve, still increase strength, and still kind of look the way I want to look off those levels. But I was just like thinking that's what I kind of considered at the time, like hopping on TRT, was because, man, if I'm only like achieving these type of results at these levels, man, I can't imagine if I was at like 800, 1,000, right? So this is where I went. But before I get you into the last results, here was me right here. This is what I looked like when I did my first blood work. I was coming off the septoplasty, which is a nasal surgery, and at the same time I was developing some type of stomach reaction. So when I got my blood work done and I saw my test results, it was sitting around 450. And that was my first one. And again, this is what I looked like. And this was also to me coming off my first bodybuilding show. I did lose 40 pounds in 6 months. The last 5 weeks I had to lose 20 pounds. I also showcased you that right here. And I did not rebound properly, as you can see right here, to flee into the first blood work. And that was my test results after the first one. Now, the second test results, and I like to do these tests or this blood work every like 6 to 12 months because again, I'm 28 now. I'm getting up to this age. It's good to document. It's good to see where my levels are at. And it's good to see if my levels are improving or decreasing. If they are decreasing, something to take consideration of. So I did my second time. This was back in 23. And again, same thing. My test level slightly just increased a little bit. And again, this is what I was looking like too. So my second blood work test was done on September 21st, and this was about 3 weeks after my second bodybuilding show. And so as you can understand, I'm coming off like, dieting, being shredded, being at a low body percentage, like 4 to 5%, maybe 6, and coming out about 3 weeks off the show. And as you can see on the second test, I was sitting at 480. So, we're going back from 450 to 480 now, right? We only got a 30-point increase. Now, you also think is like, all right, like he's leaner, he doesn't got much body fat. It's like, why did his test only increase that much? And it's just because, if you got yourself leaner, you've been, just dieting for a long time, your hormones tank, you don't have much body fat to supply for, those hormones in the organs. And just overall, too, it takes a toll on your body, too. So it does take a stress on too, being that type of lean. So that's also a reason why my second blood work test looked that way too. And then my third blood test was done on August 20th. So it was about almost a year since I'd done my last blood work test. And with this one, I was chilling at 506. So I increased my test a little bit more. And again, same thing. I was at this point, I was chilling at 7 to 8% body fat. And I've increased it a little bit more, but again, I didn't give my body a break from doing so. And of course, during the times in the past of my blood work test 1 and 2, I wasn't really like, yes, I was getting ready for a show, but I didn't rebound properly. I shut my body down at one point after the second show, and then also too, like, I'll just go back to my old ways. But going to the third test, I cleaned up my old ways. I learned how to stay lean, also enjoy myself with the foods, and I was able to stay lean, but also to increase my tests a little bit over time. Now, here's the shocker. This is my fourth blood test right here. Now, my fourth one, this was done in January. All right, so it's January 15th. So we're talking about, about 4 months since the last one here, right? 4 or 5 months. And this time, when I got the results back, these results shocked me. Because I went the first thing, went to look at my tests, and when I looked at it, when I saw it was 629, I was like, there's no fucking way that just happened right now. And when I saw it, I was like, yo, how did my test increase that much? And I was kind of reflecting, and there's only 3 things I did to make those changes to increase my testosterone that much. And when I was thinking about it, I was just like, all right, what was those 3? The first one was increasing my body fat percentage, especially coming from the last blood work test, number 3. I was chilling, somewhere between 7-8% for, I would say, probably 6 to 9 months. And so again, being that lean, it does take a toll on your testosterone. It does take a toll, on your hormones, because again, you not have that much body fat, and again, it's not sustainable for your body to be that lean all the time. So you do have to give your body a break. And this is what I did after that last blood work. I decided to put myself back into a bulking stage of lean bulking, and I got myself up to about 45 to 5,000 calories. And for that time period of me increasing slowly, add more body fat onto my body, it was able to recover, it was able to heal, and it was able to do the things it needed to do. That was the first change I did. The second change, and before I get into the second change, I've been doing it bulking for about 6 months now, so I'll give my body a good amount of time to kind of just chill out, have fun, do what it needs to do. Now the second change I did was, and I did this like involuntary at first, is I went home for the week of go visit my family, and I had a wedding at the same time when I was visiting my family. And I was like, I don't really need to take my supplements because I'm only gone for 5 days or so. So I went home, I was, visit my family, I work out, I go have my mom's good at home cooking foods. And every time I was like, yo, my body's actually kind of responding. Like, I was like having my mom's foods, like I was having a shitload of my mom's food. And I was like, responding the way like I would have kind of with like the supplements I was on at the time. So for the entire week, I wasn't taking supplements, and my body was kind of responding better. And I was like, man, that's crazy. So I was like, when I got back from being home and the wedding, I was like, all right, you know what? Let me just not take these supplements for the next couple months, and let me see just what happens. And now when the supplements I'm talking about multivitamins, multiminerals, vitamin D3, K2, magnesium, zinc, and fish oils. Those were pretty much the essential vitamins and minerals I was taking of the supplements. And I still take supplements, but they're more sports performance than my, intra EAs, my BCAAs, my creatine, and my build muscle pump, I call it that. So those are the only ones I really take, but I don't take the other ones I just mentioned earlier. So I was like, all right, cool. I stopped taking those, and for the past 3 months, I just noticed my body was changing. Like, the response to food was getting better, my digestion was getting better, and just like my recovery was getting better too. And I'd be wondering like why is that the case? And I think it's just from my own experience, it was just because I was putting my body in overdrive with those extra supplementations on top of the amount of food I was consuming at the same time. Now, because you're already thinking, it's like, all right, if you, like, I'm a person that's already eating like 45 to 5,000 calories, so why do I need additional when I'm getting all the supplies I get from the food? So I was just putting my body on overdrive to the point where it was just taxing it out, and it's just like, wasn't putting no use into it. So when I had to pull those away, I was able to calm my body down. I was just able to get the nutrients I need from my foods, and I just saw the response to my body. Digestion was better, the strength was increasing, my overall look was just getting better too. So I was like, all right, cool. I know that was a good segment to like, I pull these away. And even when I'm prepping for the show right now, I haven't gone on these type of supplements that I just mentioned earlier, but I'm sure I probably would, but we started, slowly incorporating back into the plan. So that was a second adjustment. Now, last adjustment, this is the big one. This is like the most killer when it comes to your testosterone and everything else, is stress. I was like, at the time, between the first blood work test to, the third one, my stress levels were pretty much at all-time high. And I was coming off the surgery, getting ready for my second bodybuilding show. That was in 23, late towards the 23. And then year 24, that was like, the darkest year of dealing with four adversities in all that same year. I was dealing with my body shutting down. Then I got in a car accident. Then the breakup happened a few months after that. Then a few months after that, I had some personal issues come up as well. So you can understand, like, all those stresses were very high and it took a toll on my body over a period of time. So in 25, I decided to spend, the whole year just rebuilding myself, re-identifying who is the person I am, really re-healing from all the adversities I experienced with, and just really just regain the purpose and regain the vision of the man I'm supposed to be. And that's why I spent the whole year of 25 to lead up to the moment of the last blood work test here in January of 26. So, as you know, stress, does a lot of things. It holds on to water, it holds on to food storage, which increases more fat just because your body's in a fight or flight zone. So your body's not really breaking down the food, it's just really storing more. And then also too, it just impairs recovery. So you're not really building muscle, you're really just losing more muscle. So that's what stress really does. So if you really don't take care of it, it can do a lot more harm to the body without you really realizing it. And that's why it's very important to focus on what causes you the amount of stress. And that, for me, again, I went through a whole year of just one stress level after another. And I was thankful to be through a year where I could just able to kind of ease myself into, like, myself calm down and let myself rebuild over that period of time. But those are the three major changes that I've seen in my own experience that I did for myself that improved my testosterone from the third one to the fourth one. Now, how can you do it for yourself? Well, for y'all that watch it, most of y'all are just out of shape. Most of y'all are just overweight. So the first thing is just start cleaning up your diet, man. Just like, ready to start cleaning up diet, start eating clean. Limit yourself to 1 to 2 times a week going out to eat. But start training, with intention too. Don't just go to the gym just because like you just did bicep curls and good. Like, really train with intention. Actually, also to eat with an intention as well. Eat with a purpose. Train with a purpose. Do those two things, and do it for a good, consecutive amount of time. Just don't do it for a month and say like nothing's happened. Do this shit for 6, 12, and then 2 years, and then really kind of reflect if things have changed or not. I'd be the first one. And the second part is really focusing on what's causing you stress. Now, of course, you can't really control some of the things, that's just life. But if you try to find different ways to really reduce the stress, really calm yourself down, find things that you enjoy, find things that keep you at ease, at peace, and at mind, over time, you will start to notice the difference. You start to realize how much more better you'll be feeling once you reduce the stress, and also too, you change your body composition over time. So that is my 2 ways to help you out to increase your testosterone naturally with not really needing anything else, and just doing things over and over a period of time. So that is it right there. That is how I increased my testosterone naturally, and this is how I got myself up to this point. And also too, I was able to be blessed to do the food challenges and still look the way I do. And like I said, it's just, all these are trials and errors. Again, I have so much data to log in from like the workouts and the foods I'm eating from these blood works. It's just like I've been able to understand what's been working, what's not, and like do different testings to figure out if it is working. Cool, let me stick with it, like continue on. If it's not, let me go back to the drawing board. So again, I have a lot of database to understand from my own experience what's really causing it, and I can navigate for myself on how things are working. Summer is around the corner, so if you enjoy this, get yourself ready, because it'll be here before you know it. Let's get shredded. Let's look good for summer. Let's feel good for summer. Let's enjoy getting jacket tan, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode.